From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your evening update.
You want to go where to buy a new refrigerator? Steve's A to Z Appliance in Cottonwood? In Cottonwood? Just a 10-minute drive. And they'll save us money. New and used, honest, reliable, factory-trained repair service and parts, and they'll save us money. And dispose of this thing? We gotta make the short drive to Steve's A to Z. Thanks, son.
Steve's A to Z Appliance, front and main streets in Cottonwood. Drive a little, save a lot.
Hello everyone, I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger. Thank you so much for joining us here for your evening update. All right, so a lot of people are talking about it. Snow in the valley. All right, let's talk about this here. Here's what I'm watching here for tonight through Thursday. Of course, we're talking about the snow, but we're going to talk about the flooding too. We got the flood potential along with mudslides and debris flows. You know, we saw the flooding last week. With the rain that we're going to see here tonight and tomorrow, that could create some more problems. So some of you that may have seen flooding last week may see it again here, especially as you go in late in the day tomorrow and even into early Friday. Now again, we're talking about those low snow levels, including the valley seeing that potential, especially the north end of the valley. And in the mountains, we're talking chain requirements and possible closures on some of those mountain highways as well. And on top of that, we've got gusty winds, could see gusts 30, even 40 miles per hour. Still that potential for some power outages with some of these stronger winds and maybe even some thunderstorms entering the picture. All right, so we're getting into all of that in a lot of detail here in your deeper dive forecast. But before we do that, let's take a look at Krueger's Quickcast. This is just a quick look at the forecast for those of you that want to know what to expect here for tonight and through the day tomorrow. Just a quick look at it. Temperatures are going to be, the farther south you go, the warmer it gets, the slimmer the chance of seeing snow in the valley. So I'd say Red Bluff northward, you've got that chance for snow. All right, so then of course temperatures single digits, teens, 20s for the higher elevations, upper 30s to low 40s for the coast here for tonight. Now out the door tomorrow morning, yeah, we got a bit of a mix for parts of the valley. But again, south of Red Bluff, most likely in the form of rain. Trinity County, maybe some snow, maybe a bit of a mix at times. The North Coast, rain, snow for the rest of us in the higher elevations for tomorrow morning. Now, we do have a winter storm warning for all of the areas in pink. We're going to kind of break that all down here a little bit later. We have a flood watch until Friday night. Flooding is a concern. We've also got wind advisories out there. Let's take a look at those winds and see what we can expect here for tonight. Here's 2 a.m. Thursday morning. Gusts 30, 40 miles per hour along the coast. Some of the higher elevations, central Siskiyou County, even parts of the valley, seeing some gusty winds, especially down to the south near Chico. Here it is, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Strongest winds to the east, central Siskiyou County and along the coast. But look at the north and west side of the valley. Winds actually not as strong there. Eventually, though, by midday in the afternoon, those winds will pick up for the central and north end of the valley. And of course, to the east, winds starting to die down and subside as we go into your Thursday evening and Thursday night. So here is that big stream of moisture, an atmospheric river. That's the source of moisture that we have for the rain and snow that we're going to see. And when we look at future casts here, just again, look at the timing. We'll go into details on where that snow will be and the works in our deeper dive here in just a bit. But there you can see through the evening, the rain begins to pick up. We've got snow developing in the mountains by 10 o'clock tonight. Of course, the coast seeing some of that heavier rainfall too. Rain really ramping up and picking up in intensity here as we go into 2 o'clock tomorrow morning when most of you are asleep. Snow levels rather low at this point, could be in the valley too. By 6 a.m. Thursday, we're seeing that begin to taper off here, but most of it's now off to the north and to the east. We've got this next batch of moisture coming in by around midday. At this point, the colder air will be mixed out and snow levels will be much higher by midday and of course through the afternoon. So all bets will be off at that point for any snow in the valley. By 10 o'clock Thursday, we're still seeing those showers and possible thunderstorms for tomorrow afternoon as well. So yeah, still a lot kind of going through even into Thursday night. And it looks like by Friday, though, things will start to kind of taper off. Here's midnight tonight. There you can see the snow in the higher elevations. So it's going to be setting up. So by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, there are going to be plenty of chain requirements out there and maybe even closures as well. That's 5 o'clock Thursday morning. By the way, the reds and those pinks, those purples, that's still mainly a bit of a mix in there in some snow. So that's still kind of that winter precipitation, and that can continue to create chain requirements here even as we go into the afternoon. But looks like conditions may improve a little bit tomorrow afternoon because of the rising of those snow levels. So we take a look at your Thursday forecast. Temperatures low to mid 50s in the valley. We're talking 30s in the higher elevations, and looks like temperatures somewhere in the low to mid 50s out along the coast. And we look at your 7-day forecast for the valley. Morning snow for Redding and Red Bluff, rain pretty much all day long for Chico. Anything we see on Friday is not going to be very significant. I don't think we're going to see much in the way of rain. Dry on Saturday, and then even for Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday of next week, any rain or snow that we do see is also going to be in the light side. For the next 7 days out here, really the main event will be tonight and through the day tomorrow. There you can see snow levels are going up, right? Then they start to go down again and then back up again towards the middle of next week. But we still have chances for showers in there. It just won't be all that impressive. All right, that's a look at Krueger's Quickcast. Do want to remind you that, of course, we do have a free Weather NorCal app here, and all you have to do is go to your app store, search for Weather NorCal, and you are good to go. Everything I have to offer is right here on the app. Of course, you can get the latest video forecast, the 24-hour streaming channel, the neighborhood forecast, the special program, the current temperatures. You get it. There's a lot on here, and I think you're really going to like it. All right, let's get to that deeper dive forecast. Here we go, folks. Buckle down, get some popcorn. We got some stuff to talk about here. From snow to rain to winds, the works. Here it is. There's the atmospheric river. I know how much you love that phrase, but this is not your typical Pineapple Express. And I'm going to show you why it's not your typical Pineapple Express. By the way, that area of low pressure, that's cold air that's going to help to reinforce the cold air that's already in place. So here's the overall setup. We've got the colder air in place, and of course that area of low pressure is going to bring in more cold air. We've got warm, moist air riding over that colder air, and we're going to be somewhere around here where you can see that possible mix or snow. That's about where we're going to be with that overall setup. So remember, I was talking about this atmospheric river. Western Pacific, streaming all the way to the Eastern Pacific. This is what it looked like at 6 o'clock here this morning. There's Hawaii. This is not a Pineapple Express. The reason it was called, it can be called the Pineapple Express is because that moisture comes from here and works its way up. But it's not. It's coming from all the way over here. So this is, I mean, true definition of an atmospheric river, that narrow column of moisture working its way into our region. Now, you can see that it's mainly going to be pointed to our south, but you can see it kind of spreads out, and we're able to see this area of low pressure right here tap into that warm, moist air, and that's going to be the source of moisture for our rain and snow. That pushes to the south, and we start to lose some of that moisture. That's why it should dry out later in the day on Friday and Saturday, but we've got to watch for this as we go into the second half of the weekend and early next week. So there's the area of low pressure. This is the storm, the cold storm system, warm, moist air right here. This is going to be moving in. There's that warm, moist air, the colder air tapping into that, the warmer air riding over that cold air as you saw that setup, and that's what's going to help to bring us that lower elevation snow. That kicks off to the east. As we go into Friday, still some leftover snow flurries in the higher elevations, maybe some showers for parts of the valley. It dries out for Saturday. And then we've got more of kind of a cool and unsettled weather pattern for next week. So Sunday, President's Day, we're looking at a slight chance for some showers. Maybe Tuesday, a bit of a break. And then there's Wednesday with maybe another chance for showers next Wednesday. So again, that unsettled weather pattern through next week, just nothing impressive as far as rain and snow is concerned, really after tomorrow. All right, so here is the winter storm warning. It's until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning for the valley, until 10 p.m. Friday for the eastern mountains, and until 4 a.m. Friday to the north and west of the valley. Bottom line, we've got heavy snow in the forecast, and it's going to create problems, especially if you do need to travel. All right, so we're going to look at two different forecast models like we did last week. This is our in-house forecast model that we're looking at. Now you'll notice I put the winds in here. If you watched my Facebook post earlier today, I was talking about there are several elements that we've got to look at when we start asking the question, is it going to snow in the valley? Some of that, of course, is how cold it's going to get, how long that colder air is going to stick around, and also if we have that moisture source, but the winds too. If we have that south wind, that does not really help to support much in the way of snow, but once it starts shifting more from the north, that does help that snow, right? So let's take a look as we go into this evening. You see how the rain begins to spread in. Look at the winds. They're more from the south at this point. You'll notice a little bit from the north here, but generally from the south. So it's going to be mainly in the form of rain, maybe a bit of a mix at this point, but most of the snow is off to the west. Now this model, for the first time, is beginning to show signs of snow. See this? This right here is snow. Now one of the reasons we're seeing that, you see the winds? They're coming out of the north. all of them coming from the south here, so that's why we're not seeing as much snow. Now, I do think at midnight we could even be looking at a mix as far south as, say, Red Bluff as well. All right, let's take you into about 2 a.m. Again, that north wind. See how we got Anderson, Cottonwood, again, maybe even Red Bluff getting into some of that as well. All of this is looking at snow, heavier snow off to the west there, all right? 3 a.m., all right, to 4 a.m. We still have that north wind, and quite honestly, I still think we should be looking at some snow on this forecast model here, because we still have that north wind and the colder air will probably still be in place. But at this point, the air may begin to mix out. That colder air may begin to mix out, and as a result, snow levels will start to rise. But on top of that, we're just seeing by the time we get into about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, the precipitation is ending. The next batch of rain coming in from the south and west. So I do think, based on this model, it'll be mainly around midnight to about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. All right. We're going to take a look at another forecast model called the HRRR forecast model, or HRRR. Put the winds in here as well to kind of give you that idea. All right, so we go through the evening tonight. There's that rain kind of kicking in. Looks like it's going to take a little bit longer based on this model. Then we go into midnight. You see how the snow is getting closer. So it looks like we're starting to see that snow kind of turn into a bit of a mix around midnight. Then as we go into 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, you can see it's all snow down to Anderson. Again, this model wants to keep it north of Red Bluff, but I do think we could still maybe see some of that snow even out towards the Red Bluff area. But I think Redding, Anderson, Cottonwood, very good chance, slimmer chance as you head south into Red Bluff. 4 a.m. on Thursday, there we still have that north wind. You see how we're still seeing some of that snow, but at this point, the colder air is beginning to mix out. So as a result, even though we have that north wind out of the north here, north wind out of the north wind, we may still see some of that snow, maybe a bit of a mix at this point by 5 a.m. And then as I mentioned, we're going to start to see as we go into the 7, 8 o'clock hour, even 9 o'clock, we're starting to see the precipitation just ending in general, so we probably won't see much in the way of precipitation at that point. So, what can we expect when we're talking snow totals? This is just raw data coming from the HRRR. It's expecting about 1 to 2 inches in Redding. And of course, there you can see Bernie, there you can see Weaverville, Hayfork, and many other of the mountain locations here. We'll get into that a little bit later. But now let's just take a look at the big picture. Okay, so those of you that live in the mountains, you want to know what's going on. Bernie, you're seeing snow by 10 o'clock tonight. Hayfork, Weaverville, I think you're going to be looking at snow, if not maybe a bit of a mix. Rain will be heavy at times to the south of that. Rain still, maybe a bit of a mix for the north end of the valley. All right, we're not going to talk a whole lot about the snow anymore for the valley. We're just going to talk about everywhere else. Here's the heavy rainfall we saw earlier. There's the heavy snow in the mountains, chain requirements. That's going to be a very good possibility early tomorrow morning. All right, now notice what's happening. You see how we're seeing less snow to the south here. The colder air is beginning to mix out because, again, remember, it's a warmer source of moisture moving in. So eventually that's going to mix out the colder air no matter what the winds are doing from the north here, right? So that is something that we're starting to see happen already by 5 a.m. Still the heavy snow, though, and the colder air up to the north. But you see what's happening? This is all moving to the north and east. We're starting to see a bit of a dry slot before the next round of moisture comes in. This one is a warmer source of moisture, and as a result, snow levels will be higher, 3,000 to 4,000 feet. But there still will be chain requirements, possibly in I-5, 89, and especially east of I-5. And by the way, also the potential for thunderstorms, heavy downpours at times, and gusty winds associated with this activity. 5 p.m. Thursday, breaking apart to the south, but we are seeing the rain and snow between 3,000 and 4,000 feet. Thursday night, we're still seeing that area of low pressure now is beginning to push through, and we're kind of getting the last batch of that instability that'll create more showers, more snow. In fact, as that storm system, which is fairly cold coming from the Gulf of Alaska, starts to move through Thursday night, Friday morning, we're seeing another pocket of cool air move in. That may lower our snow levels again. Now maybe down about 2,000 to 3,000 feet. But most of it looks to be to the north and off to the east. Not as much down to the south and west here. Then you can see by Friday morning, Friday afternoon, it's actually starting to taper off. I don't expect a lot of rain or snow through the day on Friday, but I've still got that chance in there. We'll have to wait to see what the latest forecast models kind of project at that point. There you can see as we go into Saturday morning, most of the activity with that activity will be to the north. I do expect dry conditions for most of us on Saturday. All right, whew. All right, we're just still talking about snow. These are some of my projections that I'm expecting. I'm going to go ahead and say 3 to 6 inches of snow in Redding. Maybe a trace out in Red Bluff. And there you can see Weaverville, Hayfork, some of the totals that I projected. These are my projections. Bernie about 4 to 8 inches. Shingletown 2 to 4. Fall River Mills about 3 to 6. Look at Mount Shasta City, 6 to 10 inches. You can see up to a foot of snow in Chester, 6 to 10 inches in Portola. So some pretty impressive snowfall amounts coming out of this. And by the way, some of those totals you saw in those lower mountain communities, yes, it starts off as snow, but eventually that snow will melt because it will turn into rain later in the afternoon. Here's what it looks like for the ski park. Look at that. Over 2 feet of snow that we're talking here easily through the day on Thursday. Take a look at those road conditions here tonight. They're not going to be too bad just yet, but by the time we get to midnight, we're starting to see those chain requirements really begin to pick up. And again, keep in mind that the red and the purples are also, for the most part, snow. And that's what we're looking at here. Conditions do look to improve a little bit because of the higher snow levels as we go into Thursday afternoon, but do be prepared, especially tomorrow morning, for the potential of chain requirements and closures, especially in I-5. And then, of course, as conditions do improve tomorrow afternoon, there still will be chain requirements. So here's what I want you to do. If you have travel plans tomorrow, a really quick, easy way to check the road conditions is go to weathernorcal.com that you can see right here. Scroll down, you'll see it says road conditions. When you click there, here's what it looks like. I've taken all of the popular Caltrans road cameras, and you can very quickly at a glance see what the road conditions look like. So you can check them out. You could also have a quick link to the Caltrans Quick Map as well to check out the latest chain requirements. And by the way, this is all available from the free Weather NorCal app as well, so you can very easily, on the road when you're the passenger, check those conditions here for an area that you might be heading to. So really great resource that I've created there. All right, let's switch gears. Now let's talk about the wet stuff, the rain, right? There you can see as we go through Friday, 10 p.m., now we're talking over an inch of rain for the valley, close to 2 inches of rain for parts of the North Coast. In fact, over 2 inches out in Hoopa, and less when you melt that snow down off to the north and east. With that rain, we've got the potential for flooding until Friday night. Now again, keep in mind the rain will be heavy tomorrow morning, but it's not until tomorrow afternoon and into Friday that we do start to see the things begin to kind of swell up a bit. You know, the creeks, the streams. As I mentioned earlier, if you are in an area that saw flooding last week, you may see flooding again here with this rain coming in. There is a flood warning for Tehama Bridge at the Sacramento River, or the Sacramento River at Tehama Bridge. Here you can see that's what it looks like. It's going up here with that rain, but does drop. Should finally drop below that flood stage here by Saturday afternoon. We are below the flood stage out at the Sacramento River at Vinyl Woodson Bridge, but it should get above that flood stage after the rain before it does drop again going into Friday night and early Saturday morning. Also, there's that potential for thunderstorms, as you can see, for the valley into the west. I do think we could see some thunderstorms even to the north here, out towards Del Norte County as well. And the winds, yeah, of course, we talked about the winds. We're going to talk about those again and kind of extend it a little bit longer. Late tonight, early tomorrow morning, strongest winds along the coast and off to the east and even into Siskiyou County. Still very strong, even at 8 o'clock in the morning. Through the day, they do begin to pick up for the valley, but they start to subside through the day on Thursday off to the west. But off to the east, still some gusty winds there. That'll probably continue into Friday morning, but as we go through the day on Friday, the winds will certainly be much calmer. So the main wind event will be really tonight and through the day tomorrow. Look at these wave heights. You can see they're really starting to increase here for the coast through 6 p.m. on Thursday. Friday, they're going to stick around. And in fact, when we take a look at your marine forecast, you're going to see that there's a small craft advisory. And on top of that, there's a high surf advisory until 2 p.m. For tomorrow with those large breaking waves, 20 to 22 feet. So again, we talk about the marine forecast. Look at the winds. They're getting stronger. The waves, right, they're getting pretty high there. Also, that small craft advisory here for your Thursday as those waves really do start to ramp up. Here's your forecast for tonight. Again, keep in mind, some of these temperatures may be cooler than what you're seeing here. It may be cooler in Red Bluff, but the farther south you go of Redding, the slimmer the chance of seeing snow. There you can see, of course, the single digits, teens and 20s for the mountains, and looks like upper 30s to low 40s for the coast. Here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. Temperatures in the mid 40s. Off and on chances for rain after tomorrow, but it looks like the best day to see dry weather during the 7-day time frame here will be Saturday and then once again Tuesday of next week. 50 degrees for Gas Key, 47 degrees for Orleans, and 49 degrees for Willow Creek. Your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast, 44 degrees out in Hornbrook, 44 for Happy Camp, and 38 degrees for Mount Shasta City. Here's your Modoc County neighborhood forecast. Temperatures mainly in the upper 30s and low 40s for those daytime highs. In the eastern mountains, we're talking 43 in Shingletown, 44 degrees for Greenville, and out towards Paradise, a temperature of 49 degrees. And your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by Walgamith Painting. Your temperatures will be in the mid to upper 50s, 58 degrees for Willows and 56 degrees in Chico. Speaking of Chico, there's your 7-day forecast. Looks like for your Valentine's Day, yeah, maybe a few showers, but really for the most part, I think it'll be dry on Friday. Dry for Saturday, and again, as I mentioned, any chance for rain we see for Sunday, Monday, or even Wednesday is going to be light. I wouldn't cancel any outdoor plans based on what you're seeing there. The only outdoor plans you want to cancel are going to be for tonight and tomorrow because it's going to be very wet out there. And if there's that morning snow, possibly even in Red Bluff, but I think the better chance for that snow in Redding, especially in the morning. By mid to late morning, it's mainly going to be in the form of rain, and then of course rain through the afternoon and possible thunderstorms. Valentine's Day, as I mentioned, maybe some rain, but for the most part, it's fairly dry. Dry on Saturday, and then it looks like a slight chance for some light showers. Again, nothing significant for Sunday, President's Day, or next Wednesday. All right, that is your evening update. I'll be back again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. with your latest update. And Coffee with Krueger is typically live at 7 o'clock in the morning. But keep a close eye on social media and just keep a close eye on the 24-hour streaming channel because I may be going live a little bit sooner than normal depending on just how intense that snow gets. So be on the lookout for that on Coffee with Krueger tomorrow morning. Until then, have a great night and we'll see you tomorrow.
Wiggly mouth.
Woggy mouth.
No.
Painting.
Wiggy mouth.
It's Woogie Mouth Painting.
It's Walgamith Painting, and yes, we'll paint anything.